This is Mag212 and I'm back with yet another Nerf modification. This video is going to be an overview on my minimized Nerf Doomlands Lawbringer. I've been thinking about doing this for a while, but I didn't want to do it with my first Lawbringer because I wanted to do something different with that. But I got another Nerf Lawbringer for Christmas and I decided to make this one into a pistol. So essentially this is a 12-shot Nerf Hammershot, which is awesome. Don't let anyone tell you anything different. Now I'll delve into the modifications a little bit, starting with the internals. I'll turn it over to the other side because I left this part clear and you could actually still see the internals, so it'll be easier for you guys to understand what I'm saying. So first, modification-wise, I did increase the compression of the spring by adding a hot glue spacer. You can see it's that opaque thing right there. So when I prime the Hammershot, the spring comes a little bit closer to full compression. I didn't get the size exactly right, but you're getting a lot more pop when you pull the trigger. In addition to that, I did take out the air restrictor because it was giving me some troubles, and I increased the seal between the turret and the Lawbringer with some pink foam. Nerf Lawbringers typically don't shoot as hard as Nerf Hammershots for whatever reason, but with the hot glue spacer modification, I'm getting some extra spring compression, and the performance of this Lawbringer is just a little bit under the performance of a modified Nerf Hammershot, which is nice. Those are basically all the internal mods, so now I'll cover this crazy minimization. I cut off a large portion of the Lawbringer, as you obviously can see. I cut off the stock and I rounded the handle. I did not cover this gap because I wanted to still be able to detach the pieces for painting and to keep this part clear. So yeah, it doesn't look great underneath here because I didn't get to cover the gap, but what are you gonna do? In addition to removing the entire stock, I also removed the entire front portion. I actually removed a lot of plastic from here too. Usually you can just chop off the front, but I decided to get rid of the arms too because you don't actually need it to hold the cylinder in. The cylinder is actually held in by the shell, so it doesn't come out, and you don't really need these support arms. I also shaved off a lot of the bottom plastic and I covered it with a piece of 1/8 inch polycarbonate, which I cut out. Because I got rid of a lot of the screw ports, I did have to drill a hole on this side and the other side, and I have a huge screw going through. I'm not exactly sure what the measurement of this screw is, but it's going through the Hammershot. You can kind of see it in there. And then on the other side, I have a nut, which is locking it in. I just have this extra screw because it holds the shell together and it makes sure that your cylinder rotates properly. Now I'll talk a little bit about the paints I used for this paint job. I used a black vinyl dye primer, which is the black right here, and then I added Citadel Baylor Brown and Lauren Forest Green, and those are both brush paints, which I brushed on afterwards. Like I said, I left the clear part, even though it doesn't look quite as good in my opinion, but I know a lot of people like to see how the internals function. And I also left the hammer, trigger, and little tactical rail piece orange. And on all of the painted parts, I have Runefang Steel dry brushing from Citadel. Overall, I think the paints look really cool. It kind of looks like a futuristic camo to me. This is what I think a zombie strike gun should look like. I think that if every zombie strike gun looked like this, it would be pretty sweet. Okay, so now I'm going to cut to a short firing demo of the minimized Nerf Lawbringer because I know you guys want to see how it shoots. I'll just sum up my opinion on this modification by saying it's pretty damn awesome. I love the Hammershot, don't get me wrong, but this is so cool. You have everything a Hammershot has to offer right here, except you have an additional 7 darts, and it's really cool. Although the profile is much bigger than the Hammershot, that's a price you're gonna have to pay for a ginormous capacity. So the performance of the minimized Nerf Lawbringer modification is pretty good, about 75 feet per second, which is much better than the pitiful 60-something feet per second it gets in stock form. But yeah, that's the end of my video on my modified Nerf Lawbringer. I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, thanks for watching.